Let's get into conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Fuck it.
Missing Japanese citizens.
Okay. We're missing Japanese people already. Hold up. Let me turn that volume.
One night in June 1978, a 22-year-old single mother of two kids named Yaiko
She was
Taguchi was
single
working her usual shift in Tokyo, Japan.
I just fucking dropped my phone, bro. Fuck. Ah! Ah! Fucking ah! You almost just fucking died. Oh my god.
Cabaret Hollywood. After finishing her shift right at around midnight, Yaiko left the cabaret through the front door and was never seen again.
Oh shit.
At first, nobody thought
Yo,
that
this shit was one of my biggest fears though. Like a real talk, like like one day just coming home and my mom's just wasn't there. Like she just dipped or some shit, bro.
anything serious had happened to Yaiko. In fact, several years later, her manager was questioned, and he claims that everyone thought she had quit when she failed to show up.
The fuck?
At around that time, there had been rumors going around that
Down
several
there, high
North
school type
Korean
of vibe.
spies were working undercover in Japan, looking to abduct innocent citizens and hold them as hostages back in North Korea.
What the fuck?
However, this was seen by the Japanese government as nothing more than a conspiracy
Yo,
theory
that shit would be
couldn't
so
possibly
ass. Imagine getting kidnapped and getting sent to fucking North Korea out of all places, bro.
be
Hell
true.
nah, bro. They be
Sadly,
like starving fools and shit. Like I don't know.
the missing case of Yaiko went cold, and it wasn't until almost a decade later that a clue to her
Kinda
whereabouts
bad,
emerged
though.
following a disturbing chain of events. In November 1987, as South Korea was preparing to host the Olympics in the capital city of Seoul, a Korean Airlines plane blew up in mid-air
What
as it
the
was flying
fuck?
over the Andaman Sea, taking the lives of 115 innocent people.
Damn. What
During
the
the
fuck?
investigation, it was revealed that two North Korean agents acting under direct orders from the North Korean government had planted a bomb in an overhead storage compartment before getting off at the first layover in Abu Dhabi. As the authorities were closing in on the two suspects, one of them took his life with a cyanide-laced cigarette, but the South Korean government was able to arrest the other agent responsible for the attack. During her interrogation, it was revealed that she had
Oh,
been
shit,
training
was it
for that
women?
mission for 6 years, and that for 3 of them she had been paired with Yaiko Taguchi, who had taught her how to speak and act like a Japanese woman so she could fly under the radar.
Yo, what the fuck? They kidnapped her and made her a fucking worker? Oh, that shit's so ass, man. Man, fucking
As it
North
was later
Koreans.
revealed, Yaiko wasn't the only woman who had been kidnapped
Damn,
by the
bro.
North Korean
That
government.
fucking sucks.
As of today, 17 Japanese citizens have been officially confirmed by the Japanese government as having been abducted by North Korea from 1977 to 1983. Disturbingly, a lot of them were shamelessly kidnapped in the middle of the day and thrown on a boat to North Korea.
Damn, so
You might
like,
think
do the Japanese government just not, just, like, they just don't give a fuck? Like how you kidnap somebody in broad daylight, bro, and just get away with it?
that the victims were involved in something shady that put them on the North Korean
16 of them too, bro.
government's radar, but the investigations actually suggest that most of them were average citizens who just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong
Oh,
time.
bro, that sucks.
One woman was captured while she was walking to a knitting class, and 2
Aw,
others were
GGs.
kidnapped on a vacation to Europe. Another one, a
Dude, imagine going to Europe and just getting kidnapped for North Korea. Oh my god.
13-year-old girl, was taken as she was walking back home from school.
Fuck.
Some of these victims were kidnapped for identity theft purposes, while others, like Yaiko, were forcefully brought to North Korea to teach the Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies. After the kidnappings were confirmed beyond the shadow of a doubt, the North Korean government had no choice but to come forward and apologize, but they claimed that only 5 of the 17 kidnapping victims were still alive.
What?
Over the next few years, the North Korean government would send what they would claim to be the cremated remains of some of the deceased victims back to Japan. However, as DNA testing would quickly reveal, pretty much all of the remains were fake, leading the Japanese government to believe that many more of the kidnapping victims were still alive. To this day, the North Korean government has stuck to its story, claiming that there were only 13 kidnapping victims and that the ones who were still alive were sent back safely to Japan. Shockingly, while the Japanese
What the
government
fuck? Dude, hell nah, bro. Dude, that shit would. Oh my god, bro. That shit would be so ass, bro. Like, that shit's so terrible.
has officially confirmed 17 kidnappings, the list of potential victims suggests that the true number could be as high as 800.
What the fuck?
Sadly, given
Yo, Japan, tee the fuck up. How the fuck you let 800 of your citizens get kidnapped by the ops, bro? Like North Koreans, bro. GG's.
current political situation, it's unlikely we'll ever see the full extent of these abductions, or see the North
Fuck.
Korean government held truly accountable for its horrific
Fuck.
crimes.
Little twin, my little
Just
twin.
the other day, I found myself wasting hours of time I could have spent working on videos trying
Bro. No free ads.
to
Heart attack gun. Oh, heart attack gun? Damn, bro. This is like what like fools from Despicable Me had, but instead of farts, it was heart attacks.
Back in the 70s, a journalist named Seymour Hersh published an article in the New York Times in which he accused the CIA of several assassination attempts on both foreign and American politicians who they considered to be anti-war dissidents. Due to these allegations, the US Senate put the CIA under investigation for alleged covert action abuses, which
What that
resulted in
mean?
the release
Yo,
of
Loki, he said a big ass word, and I just fucking got lost. The hoardization. What did he
14
say?
reports on major abuses committed by the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The majority of the reports included accusations of crimes such as opening and resealing US citizens' private mail for several years and illegally surveilling Black Power activists.
The fuck?
Although these claims are obviously pretty serious, they paled in comparison to one particular accusation or conspiracy theory which alleged that the CIA had developed a pistol that could fire a poison dart over 300 feet.
Yo,
take
that's
a
kind of
person
fire, bro. That's just like in the movies where you just hit a little, boom, and then they just go hit you, and then you just die type shit.
life and leave absolutely no trace as to the cause of death. As it was later revealed, this theory turned out to be true, and the
What?
development of the poison dart gun was just one part of the program called MK Naomi, through which the
Yo,
CIA had
I
sought
feel
to
like the U.S. got some crazy ass weapons they're telling us about allegedly. I feel like they got some like, yo, goofy ass. Dude, what was I saying? I feel like they got like a little pocket nuke or some shit, bro.
develop weapons for biological
Like a
warfare.
homing cannon with a
In
nuclear bomb.
1975, William Colby, the CIA director at the time, had
Or some shit that make you get sick. I don't know. Like some shit that gonna give you like paralysis. I don't know.
testify in
Like
front
on
of the
some
committee
Pokemon
that was
shit.
investigating the agency. During questioning, he claimed that the CIA had developed a host of biological weapons as part of a plan to eliminate German leaders during World War II, but that their research had continued until well after the war.
Do you think the U.S. has some crazy ass death note shit though? Like some little, they write some fool down, kill his ass.
He also mentioned that the poison dart gun was almost completely silent on account of the battery that was housed inside the handle, and that it had been specifically designed for the target to feel nothing more than a mosquito bite when the dart struck.
Damn.
Interestingly, the agency had used a specific shellfish toxin to make it impossible for anyone to know what the cause of death was, leading forensic pathologists to believe that the victim had suffered an inexplicable heart attack. It wouldn't help pathologists that the
Jeez.
dart was designed to melt inside the body so that it only left a small red mark where it entered the victim. When asked if the heart attack gun, as it was nicknamed, was ever used on anyone, the director alleged that it had only been used for experiments and that there were no records of actual use.
Oh yeah, they definitely used that shit on somebody before. They definitely used it.
As part of the investigation, the CIA had to hand over the gun to the committee, and there are some pretty wild pictures of the committee members analyzing the gun as William Colby answers their questions about it. Normally, you'd expect to see something like the heart attack gun in a spy movie, and it's pretty
No,
wild to
GG's,
think
they
that if
definitely use that shit to murk like somebody random, like maybe some fool who figured out how to make gas cheaper or some shit. Cause I remember there's some fool they talk about it like he figured out how to make water. I mean cars run on water, and then like allegedly he died. You know what I'm saying?
they hadn't put it under investigation, they would have probably gotten away with using it for who knows what purposes.
And some other fool figured
It's
out
also
about
pretty
cancer or
crazy
some
to think
shit.
that
They
if
killed
that's
his
the
ass
kind of
too.
stuff they were
Oh,
developing back in the 70s,
he died.
imagine the kind of technology.
He died, allegedly. I don't know if they killed him or not. I don't think they killed him, cause the USA would never do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
They have their hands on now.
Yo, I don't know, bro. I'm kind of
Disturbingly,
freaking
the
out, bro.
hearing
That
was
shit
the
kind
only
of scary.
time the heart attack gun was ever shown publicly, and to this day, it remains unclear what happened to it after the
They
investigation.
probably still got that bitch. Probably made duplicates.
Rogue waves.
Put a laser
Sailors
sight
often
on that
get a
hoe.
reputation for making up stuff they claim to have seen during their time out at
Rogue
sea.
waves, what
And
the
because there's
fuck?
no one there to refute their claims, they sometimes get away with some pretty tall tales. For centuries, sailors all around the world had talked about seeing monster waves on the open sea that would allegedly reach over 100 feet in height.
What the
In
skibbity?
1826, a French captain claimed that he had seen a 108-foot tall wave in the Indian Ocean. Even though he had 3 sailors with him who backed up his claims, when he came back to the mainland, he was publicly ridiculed by the scientific community, as it was widely believed that it was impossible for a wave to be higher than 30 feet tall.
Oh,
For a
GG's.
long while after that, dozens of
Yo,
people
bro,
conti-
this is why I don't fuck with boats, bro. I don't never want to go on a cruise or nothing like that. Look how tall this shit is. Imagine you're like on a cruise eating some like barbecue chips or some shit, and then you see this big ass wave hitting you. I'm like, oh man.
to claim sightings of these monstrous
You can't do nothing but take it. Like, oh my god, just take it. Like, you know what I mean?
middle of the ocean. But with no real evidence other than eyewitness testimonies, the existence of these waves fell into the urban legend or conspiracy theory category. In the 80s and early 90s, the Draupner platform was set up in the North Sea off the coast of Norway to extract natural gas.
Oh wait, so they barely found out that shit existed like in the 80s? GG's.
Part of the protocol that was carried out to see if the platform was stable enough to withstand the rough seas, a wave height recorder was installed on the platform. On New Year's Day in 1995, the sensor
What?
recorded an 84-foot tall wave, which served as the first real piece of evidence for the existence of rogue waves. After this incident, a lot of people started wondering how many of the sailors from previous
Yo,
centuries
I'm trying
had
to see a
been
big
telling
ass wave.
the truth. What's more disturbing than that is that there were probably hundreds of disappeared sailors from all around the world who had come across a rogue wave, also known as a monster wave or a freak wave.
Dude, bro, look at that shit.
But because most people who encountered 100-foot tall rogue waves generally didn't live to tell the tale, their testimony went down into the depths of the ocean with them. Since the Draupner wave of 1995, there's been a growing interest in rogue waves brewing in the scientific community.
Is there videos of
A
it?
few years ago, a professor at the Australian National University had estimated that at any given moment there are
I'm about to
10
hit a
rogue
gnarly ass surf on one of them hoes.
waves active in the world's oceans.
What's up?
As of today, a rogue wave is usually defined as a wave that is twice as large as the largest waves that come up in a particular area. And while the root cause of rogue waves continues to be investigated, it's generally accepted that these monster waves appear when two wave crests join together at the exact right time, resulting in a massive wave that can sink even the largest ships and oil rigs.
Jeez, bro.
Interestingly, it's also been discovered
Dang,
that
that shit
rogue
big as
waves can
fuck.
take place in large lakes. In 1975, a freighter named the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior under some pretty mysterious circumstances, with a lot of people in the scientific community coming up with all kinds of hypotheses to explain the incident. It wasn't until several years later that the scientists started theorizing that the vessel could have fallen prey to a
Yo,
set
if a
of three
fucking ship that big got sunk by one of them waves, yeah, I'm never going on a boat, bro. That shit's too scary for me. I don't know about y'all, but that shit.
consecutive
I ain't going
rogue
on no
waves.
Disney cruise or
A
something like
phenomenon
that.
referred to as the Three Sisters, in which the first wave destabilizes the ship, the second wave hits the ship's deck before it can stabilize again, and the third wave overloads the ship with more water than it can take on.
Gosh.
If this were true,
That's one of my
it could
worst
also
fears too, bro. Drowning or some shit.
provide an explanation for the mysterious sinking of other large ships in oceans around the world over the past few centuries, but this might be a bit more difficult to prove.
Jeez, bro.
Poisonous alcohol. In
Yeah,
January
this shit obvious, though.
1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was successfully ratified.
Yo, this
triggering a
fucking music in my ears making me feel shit. Making me scared or some shit, bro.
13-year period known as Prohibition, during which the production,
La vida
sale,
de
and transportation
artista,
of alcohol
drogas y
was made
mujeres.
illegal. During this period, the government enforced some pretty strict measures to prevent bootlegging of alcohol, which made the alcohol black market flourish like crazy. It was pretty much a playground for the mafia, in which the government would raid one bar and another one would crop up in just a few days' time. While all of this was happening, there were some pretty messed up rumors floating around that the US government was taking extreme measures to make sure people weren't consuming alcohol.
That's crazy, bro. They really banned alcohol for a little bit. Imagine a world where the Latinos weren't downing buzz balls, bro. Bye bye to easy
This
pussy.
included
bro. GG.
allegations that the government was intentionally poisoning alcohol
Just
to make
like-
people
I'm
who
just
consumed it sick. For a while, this remained something of a conspiracy theory, but things took a turn pretty quickly on New Year's Day 1927 when 41 people died from alcohol poisoning at New York's Bellevue Hospital.
GG's, bro.
Disturbingly, the autopsies revealed that a lot of the victims had been drinking industrial methanol, otherwise known as wood alcohol, which can be fatal even at low doses. It turns out that the government had forced companies to denature industrial alcohol to make it undrinkable since 1906, which was far before Prohibition. But when
Bro,
the
they was
crackdown on
planning on that shit, bro.
alcohol started, the government ordered these companies to add quinine, methyl alcohol, and other toxic chemicals to discourage people from drinking it. Their reasoning was that if black market dealers knew their alcohol had been poisoned, they wouldn't dare distribute it knowing how dangerous it would be for their
Nah, bro.
customers to consume.
That's that shit that's going on right now with fentanyl, bro. Yeah, fent. They don't give a fuck. They're gonna put that shit in them themselves.
I guess they forgot to factor in that the demand for alcohol at the time was absolutely insane, and that black market dealers didn't care who lived or died from consuming their product.
They just want to make
It wasn't
money,
until
bro.
December 1933, 6 years after the Bellevue incident, that the federal government finally toned down their abstinence from alcohol policies. But by then,
Why'd they even do
thousands
that
of
shit?
Americans had already been poisoned with contaminated alcohol.
Why'd they even start prohibition, anyways?
Gorillas.
I don't know.
Nowadays, there's really nothing too shocking about seeing a gorilla in a zoo or on TV. But there was once a time when gorillas were considered to be in the same category as the chupacabra,
What
the
the
Jersey
fuck, for
Devil,
real?
Bigfoot,
What the
and the
hell?
Loch Ness Monster.
What the hell's a Jersey
I
Devil?
was able to find that up until a couple of centuries ago, gorillas were considered cryptids, which are animals that are believed by some to exist somewhere in the wild.
The Bear King of Marble Falls, the Beast, the one, the Red Dead are these, the Chupacabra, La Lechusa. Oh, I don't. I think I heard about that shit though. Dude, it's like owls are like freaky as fuck. The Whozilla, Houston Batman, Donkey Lady, Chupacabra. No, the fucking owls be scary as fuck in the Native American culture, bro. 'Cause, like, supposedly you get attacked by one, it's GG's for you. Who's here?
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
What the fuck?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Yo, how the fuck she hear me? I literally didn't speak that loud either. Yo, I'm muting that bitch, bro.
But whose existence has never been proven. With most of these creatures, alleged sightings often turn out to be hoaxes, but obviously in the case of gorillas, what were once just rumors turned out to be true. Western explorers wouldn't come across
I would be like an alpha male silverback gorilla if I wasn't a gorilla, bro. I'd be fucking all the hoes. All the gorilla hoes.
gorilla until around the 1500s, when an English explorer named Andrew Battelle was captured by the Portuguese.
Okay, we back. What we talking about? The chupacabra or the gorillas or me fucking a gorilla? I mean, no. Ah, fuck. I mean, me being a gorilla.
Off the coast of West Africa. While he was held captive on the mainland, Battelle described these disturbing, giant, ape-like creatures that would occasionally prowl around his campfire, but because he had never seen a similar creature before, he
Dude,
described them more as
Dude, you know what's crazy? Thinking about it, imagine seeing like animals for the first time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine seeing like a naked mole rat for the first time. Hell nah. Or like a crocodile for the first time, bro. Fuck.
monsters than as animals. Battelle's description sent the rest of the world into what we can only call a gorilla frenzy, with all kinds of rumors being spread about these allegedly bloodthirsty, dangerous creatures living in exotic parts of the world. Over the next couple hundred years, the buzz around gorillas grew as explorers in Africa sent back illustrations.
What else would be a
of
scary
gorillas to
animal? Like a platypus?
Europe, which were often given to royalty and emperors as rare gifts.
Wait, what they
If you were
do?
to add gorillas to Europe, which were often given to gorillas grew as explorers in Africa sent back illustrations of gorillas to Europe, which were often given to royalty and emperors as rare gifts. If you were to ask any European back then what a gorilla was, they would have described it in a similar way to how we describe Bigfoot or the Chupacabra nowadays. They were thought of more as mythical monsters than regular animals.
Damn, bro.
It wasn't until over
scrapping
200
over
years
there.
or so later that an American naturalist named Thomas S. Savage found a gorilla skull in 1847
200 years ago? Barely? That's when they found out gorillas existed?
during an expedition to Africa,
That's less than
which was
200.
the first piece
that's
of real
less.
proof for the existence of these animals.
Is it?
Naturally, this triggered a bunch of new expeditions to the area, and between 1855 and 1859,
Dude, that's
French
less than 200 years ago.
explorer Paul Duchaillu confirmed the existence of gorillas and even brought some back dead. Just as Andrew Battelle before him, Paul Duchaillu
No, that motherfucker called. He said, nah, these motherfuckers exist. How? How do you know they exist? What if you're lying? I killed one, bitch, and fucking pulled up his head. Some gangster ass shit.
also described gorillas as these savage, bloodthirsty creatures which stuck in the public mind for a long time. Around 15 years later, some German explorers brought back a baby gorilla from Africa to Liverpool, even putting up some towels on the ship so he could swing around and entertain himself on the long journey back. As you can probably imagine, as soon as the ship arrived back in Liverpool, people started flocking around the hotel where the gorilla was allegedly being kept to catch a glimpse of the once mythical creature. To the public's dismay, Pongo the gorilla wasn't the massive, violent monster they
He was
had
a little
thought,
baby.
but rather a cute little 2-year-old gorilla who loved to play with dogs. A few years
That's
later,
cute.
in 1902, a German explorer named Robert von Beringe killed 2 mountain gorillas, which
Damn.
were huge in comparison to the baby gorilla that the previous German explorers had brought back. And that was really the first time the public was able to understand what a full-sized adult gorilla looked like. It's pretty crazy to think that at some point these animals that we now see as normal were once seen as legendary monsters.
That's crazy to think about.
Interestingly, if you really look at the research, there are a ton of other animals that we now take for granted that were once brushed off as hoaxes, including kangaroos, platypuses, giant squids, and Komodo dragons.
I at least said platypuses, bro. Dude, imagine seeing a platypus for the first time, bro. That shit must be mad confusing.
With so many of these myths turning out to be true, it really makes you wonder how many
Cause it's a
animals
mammal, no? And it shoots out eggs out of his vagina. Like
are
that's
out
crazy.
there that we have no idea even
Dude,
exist.
that motherfucker move menacing as hell. Hell nah. GG's, bro. Fuck. I fuck with that shit though. Man, I fuck with conspiracy theories and shit. Cause like you never know what's actually true. Like dumb.